Hey, Hoke, how you doing?
What's up, Tim? Good, brother. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, how's your recovery coming along? I know that the coaches have been trying to phase you in here in spring ball, allows some others to get some much needed reps here in the spring, so it gives you a rest. But how's it been getting back in the swing of things?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. I got a little banged up towards the end of the season. It's kind of been a story of my life. Was very fortunate. Have a best training staff in the country here with Jim Barry and Helen and Brady and those guys. Was able to patch me up and get me ready to go for Army and the bowl game last year. I've been working with them every day for the past couple months, trying to get my body right, get in there with Coach K and his guys. But I've been feeling great. This whole week and starting, it was on last Friday. I was able to really do everything. And so it's awesome to be out there and be able to do everything with the guys. I've missed it a lot, and so I'm just super thankful for the coaching staff for working with me and the training staff and the strength staff and everyone just pouring into me, and I feel great, ready to roll.
What were some specific things that Ben did as the leader of your position group during last spring that you're trying to emulate here over these past couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, he was just an awesome dude. I mean, Ben's one of my best friends. I'm a groomsman in his wedding in May, and he was so good at building personal relationships with everyone. Um, he wouldn't ask anyone to do anything that he wouldn't do himself. That's first and foremost. He was just a phenomenal dude, and second of all, he was a really good football player. And so that was, it was easy to follow him. When you're a really good football player and a really good dude and a great leader. Yeah.
How impressed were you with Malcolm's continued growth, given that he steps into the starting lineup as a plebe and he just seems to get better and better?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was unreal. That dude's a warrior. I mean, he was 220 pounds in high school playing receiver, and then goes to Naps, got moved to tight end, and then gained 60 pounds or something. And then when he gets here, I mean, people don't realize like he showed up in August in fall camp, and he didn't know how to get in a 3-point stance. I mean, like the work like that. Just I think it's a testament to Coach G and his work, and to be able to develop someone like him and get him ready to play in big time games and play some really good football. But just Malcolm, just him to just take coaching and apply it. I mean, dude's a freak, man. I mean, he's an awesome dude. He's one of my good buddies. Those first couple games it was pretty funny. I was kind of telling him what to do before every play, but now this offseason, he's got a great concept of the offense and now concept of now he's been playing offensive line for about 8 to 9 months now, and I cannot wait to see him grow. I mean, he's going to be a heck of a football player, guys. I mean, he's going to be really really good.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Wyckoff.
Yeah, Hoke, what's Coach Guillermo's focus been during these last 4 weeks?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's been coming off the ball. I mean, I think last year, I think we were first or second in the country in TFLs allowed. That's something that I was super super proud of last year. Is we didn't have MAs. We don't let people run through. We were really really good at picking up stunts and twists and so we got that now. Like, we figured that out. We have a great concept and foundation of the offense. We know what's going on. We're not gonna. There's not too much that can be thrown at us that we're not gonna be able to pick up. But so now we want to take it to a whole other step from a physicality standpoint. Just hammering down on fundamentals. Tight hands, pad level, but really just running off the ball and being really physical. And I think you've been able to see it in spring. I think we've had some really really good days where we're moving people, and we're taking it to a whole other level. And I hope that's the whole focus, to continue that. That starts in the weight room too. So just continue to hammer that down before camp.
With lack of a spring game, it seemed like yesterday you guys really cranked it up another notch, and it was almost a spring game with the ones against the ones.
Yeah, yeah. I woke up this morning feeling like I played a game, or excuse me, I woke up yesterday feeling like I'd played a game. Just the way your neck and your legs feel. It felt like I'd played a game. But we've been getting after it. It's been a lot of fun. We all really enjoy getting to go good on good. So it's been a lot of fun. I think this Saturday will be a good one too.
And what's the addition of Coach Zayu coaching on the offensive line been like for you guys?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's super even keel. You can't phase the guy. He's always gonna be level headed. He's calm, and he's a really really smart football coach. I mean, he knows his stuff. He played D line at LSU, and he's coached D line at some places he's been, he's like I was talking about earlier from the physicality standpoint, he's been able to incorporate, just like a defensive lineman's perspective into the offensive line room. I kind of joke around with him and Coach G is, Coach G is kind of the bad cop and he's the good cop. He's able to, Coach G is, the one ripping us and letting us have it. But Coach J is the one, he's going to smile and love on you a little bit. But he really knows football, and he's an awesome dude as well.
And I'm going to cheat and I'm going to take one more question. What's it
Feel
like
free.
having two offensive line coaches having done what they did at the ACC and the SEC level?
Yeah, it's wonderful. Then they're two younger guys that know what it was like that were doing it recently. But just to be able to, like they can give it to you from a player's perspective, right? Like they know how our bodies are feeling, 11 days into camp. They know how your body's feeling 8 weeks into a season, They they just it's awesome that they're awesome. They can give it to you from a player's perspective, and they're awesome football coaches, and they're even better guys. But it's really cool, just be able to. I mean, Coach Guillermo was starting, national championships, and like that's valuable. He knows what it's like to play in a big game like Army Navy or something like that. So it's really cool to be able to just pick things off of him, and he's able to give it to you from the player's perspective. It's awesome.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Follow up on what Hope said. Navy was number one in the country in fewest tackles for a loss allowed last fall.
Let's
Glad.
go.
Hoke, good to see you, my friend. How are you, pal?
I'm doing well, Wags. It's good to see you, my man.
So what are you up to, like 380 now?
Wow. Did Coach Cronic tell you to say that?
No, I'm kidding. What are you?
I was three.
Did
I was
they
308 yesterday.
Want you to gain weight or lose weight coming off of last year?
Yeah, I've been losing a little bit, and so I'll get down. I wanted to maintain around 300, especially going into the summer, and then by the time August rolls around, I'll be around 305, 310.
Gotcha. So last year, I don't want to say was a surprise for the offensive line, but it was a unit that was coming together, had a lot of new faces, a lot of young guys without a lot of experience, and wound up being so good all season, and really was a revelation. But there's, past performance is not a indicator of future success, as my financial advisor tells me. How do you, as a senior leader, how do you kind of instill that? Hey, whatever we did last year, it's in the rearview mirror, and we've got to prove ourselves again.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, just picking off like that. I was so proud, of us last year. We guys like Sean and Cam and Malcolm, like, just stepping up and just being really, really good football players. It was awesome. It was an awesome year. But exactly like you said, last year, the past 2 years, it means nothing to who we are now. And that's not even to the offensive line, but to the whole team. I was here as a freshman in 23, and we went 5-7, and I mean that sucks. Like my grade is the rising seniors, the only people that were here and understand. Life's different. Life in Bancroft Hall is different. It's different when you're not winning. So that's what I've been trying. That's been one of my goals. I've talked to the coaching staff, and I've talked to the whole team about, is like it's really, really hard to win here, and nothing. Rent is due every day. We got to work really hard to be able to find the same success that we've had for the past 2 years, because it's nothing's guaranteed, like exactly like you said, and rent's due. So that's what we coming out to work every single day, and trying to, potentially what we're doing now is exactly what's going to show up in September and October. So.
Well, obviously, you lose a guy in Ben Purvis who was the heart and soul of the unit, and he quietly went about his job. Wasn't a rah-rah guy, but you knew darn well if he got in your face, he was good. He was serious. Now you and Cam are the senior leaders. Can you talk about the responsibility of replacing that kind of leadership that Ben Purvis brought to the table?
Yeah, absolutely. It's tough. There's no one else like Ben Purvis out there. But that's me and Cam I think we're very capable of doing it. And that's Cam and I, we've started a bunch of games together. Cam's probably my best friend in the world. And we're super excited to take on the challenge, being the senior leaders, and being kind of, I think we're the two guys who've probably started the most games on returning on offense. So it's our our burden to bear, and we're super fired up to be able to do it. I think we've been doing a pretty good job so far, but I got a lot more to go, a long way to go, but I think we've been doing pretty well so far, and just elevating. We're trying to raise the bar around here.
So I apologize that I got on late, but and this was probably covered, but just for my own edification, who is getting a look at trying to replace Ben Purvis at left guard? Polito?
Yeah, so unfortunately, Jake and Sean are both out for the spring. Jake had to have wrist surgery, and Sean's been banged up. He was really banged up all last year, so he's trying to get back healthy. So this spring, we've been seeing a lot of Will Hampton, who's a rising sophomore, and Isaac Bunker, who's been getting a lot of the first team reps, and Matt Tomaszewski, who's been the two at right guard right now, but he's been getting a bunch of reps, especially since I've been a little bit limited. Um, and those guys are ballers. Isaac's he's a rising senior. He's a guy who was on scout team as a freshman and sophomore, but last year traveled and was on field goal unit. Um, he's got really heavy hands. He's a big dude who works really hard. And Will Hampton, who's from Mississippi, a rising sophomore who's going to be a really, really good football player around here, I think. He's a young guy trying to figure things out, but he's coming to work every single day. And he messes some stuff up like all young guys do, but he's coming back to work, and I think he's going to be a really good football player. And same exact thing with Chef, a really good football player who's figuring things out as we go. But those are three dudes who are really good football players. But definitely, we'll be excited to get Jake and Sean back too come this summer.
We holding the 3 questions, Strauss?
Just go ahead and give it to me.
Sorry, I was muted. I didn't know. Yeah, go ahead. You can have another one.
Malcolm Johnson. He has a chance to be a really good one here. I'm still amazed when I go back and look at the film of how well he played after taking over as the starting right tackle. Do you think Malcolm Johnson has a pretty high ceiling?
Yeah, you just said it. I think he's going to be a monster. I think that dude can play on Sundays. He's got the potential to do it. That's what I was telling Tim earlier. He was 220 pounds in high school and was a receiver. I don't think people understand how hard it is. He didn't know how to get in a 3-point stance during camp. And he just came to work and worked his butt off every single day. And dude's got ice water in his veins. We're going into South Bend. He's about to make his second career start at right tackle, and he is not phased. Dude doesn't blink. Absolutely doesn't blink. And he's got a really high ceiling. I think he's going to be a really, really good football player, and it's awesome. It makes my job easier getting to play next to him because he's able to, fix some things that if I make a mistake, he's able to, clean it up for me. So he's just an awesome dude. Nothing phases him, and he's a monster. He is.
Thanks, Hope.
Absolutely.
Wags, your 4th question was Tim Nolan's 3rd question, so you got it twice.
I'll talk about Malcolm all day.
I know you will. We've got a couple practices left. Who are some of the guys in your mind that could be Admiral Mack Award winners for most improved player in the spring?
Yeah.
Not just offense, not just offensive line, but anywhere.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today in meetings, and the first person that comes to mind is Charles Robinson. That dude is he's a dang dude. He has been coming out every single day, and he's been making plays, and that's something that we need. We've the staff has challenged that the sniper room, and he's a guy who's emerged. He's making plays everywhere. He's blocking his butt off, and he was a guy who was a quarterback less than a year ago, and who is making some serious. He's making plays. He's definitely got potential to do it, and I think someone like Cam Nichols, who I know almost won it last year, but he doesn't stop getting better. He comes to work every single day. He's won, every day in our unit meeting we do a hunter of the day. He's won it 2 or 3 times now. He comes to work every single day, and he makes plays. He's done a great job at center, leading, setting the table for the whole offensive line. But those are the 2 that really stick in my mind. But if I had to bet money on, I'd be betting Charles Robinson.
You're not the first person to say that. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Who are some of the guys in the defensive line that have impressed you since you guys go against them every day? I know you've been limited a little bit, but I know you're paying attention too.
No, 100%. Xavier Arrington's really stood out to me this spring. I think obviously, there's no one like 96 from last year, and he's been challenged, and that's a hard spot to be in. You know, s- he was a sophomore last year, and and gave Landon some breaths, but obviously, everyone knows who Landon Robinson is, and that's the same thing like I was talking about with Charles. It's a lot of pressure to try and replace those guys and that's what I've been trying to tell Charles. I've been trying to tell X is like you don't got to be Landon, you don't got to be Eli, be Charles, be Chuck, be X. Um, and I think he's really had a good spring. Unfortunately, he got a little banged up, so he's been out for about the past week. But I really did. I thought he was having a really good spring. I think he's gonna have a really good year. And the other guy is Ziggy, Aiden Lysick, especially since the whole thing with Mudame, Ziggy's really, really stepped up, and he's a dude. He's long and he's strong as hell, and he's been working really hard, and I think he's had a really good spring. So I think there are a lot of questions about the D line, but I think they've been playing some good football.
I think a lot of people probably don't know that Aiden was the projected starter last year at that position before he got hurt and missed most of the year.
He was indeed. He's a dude who's fought through a lot. He's a really good dude. His plebe year, he had Liz Frank breaking his foot, and then he had broke his leg last year during camp. He was absolutely. I remember I was involved in it, where he just kind of got rolled up when I was scooping on a play, and it just broke my heart for him because he was supposed to have a heck of a year last year, and he came back. He came back and played a little bit. I know in the bowl
Yep.
and in Army Navy. Off of less than 3 months after a broken leg surgery. So I think he's gonna have a really good year. He's a really good dude, and he's had a really good spring.
My last question is, what's your summer look like?
Summer is it's gonna be fun. So we're doing a zero block leatherneck with the guys. So that's gonna be a blast. I know Gunny Holt and Captain Jones are really excited to get down there and harass us. I'm just kidding, but it's really fun. So that's one of the coolest things about playing Navy football is summers here. Like getting to go experience things in the fleet with your best friends in the world. It is really really neat. So be down in Quantico and Leatherneck with majority of the senior football players. And then first block will be on leave, but we're not really on leave. We're here working out, and it's super fun. Getting to live at your sponsors and coming in and working out every day. And the second block, I'll be taking a class and working out, and then third block will be in camp. So I'm really excited, and there's nothing better than a summer in Annapolis.
That is true. That is true. Tim Nolan.
Oh, you kind of alluded to it when you touched on Eli, but when you have such big departures in the skill position, but the entire line is practically back with the exception of Ben, how much onus do you take on yourself to tell the guys like Charles Robinson and others that, hey, we're still back and we paved the way for the best rushing offense in the country?
Yeah, 100%. And that's something that's been, me and Coach Guillermo have had long conversations and about is like last year we were the question mark. And now this year we're the guys. We're the guys who have played a lot of snaps. We're the guys who the team's going to look to. Um, but it's our burden to bear, and I'm really really excited for it. I think we're going to be really 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 good up front. Obviously, we got a long way to go still. But that's all you can hope and dream for as an offensive lineman is to be the guys that Coach Cronic, when it's 3rd and 2 or 4th and 2, and we want to be the guys that he can depend on. That we're going to get the job done. And so I know Cam and I and the whole line's really excited for. But I think that gives confidence to a guy like Braxton and Chuck and Hutch and Mike Barrow and the other skill guys. They've got a good offensive line. They got 5 dudes at least. I think we're gonna have more than that. Who they can depend on up front. Who are gonna get the job done, give them time to make plays, and give them holes to run through. And that's something we're really excited for.
Last year when we'd asked, especially Blake, about how player-led this team was, he'd make a point of singling out a bunch of his classmates, and he'd also single out you, the lone junior, he'd call out as a leader of this team. As you enter this season, who are some other guys stepping up around you to lead the 26 football team?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brax has done a really good job. He's more of the quieter type, but he comes and works, and people follow Braxton. I think he's a guy who has got a lot of pressure. He's got a lot to live up to, and I think, but he's handling it really well. Dude doesn't get phased. He's like I mentioned earlier. He's got ice water in his veins. The guy doesn't get phased. And I see a guy like Chuck, he's a young guy who's a rising junior who hasn't played a lot, but he's a guy who's going to bring juice day in and day out. Yeah, I'm sure y'all hear him at practice. I mean, he's just an awesome dude, and he's loud and loves football. And again, a guy like Cam too. So it's guys that have stepped up. Again, it's hard to replace those guys that left last year. Like those, I love all those guys dearly. I mean, those are some of my closest friends in the world. But it's a new team, and we're really excited to do it. But I think the guys that really stick out to me are Brax and Cam and Chuck. Guys that have just and Luke Hutcherson, Jake Norris, guys that have played a lot, and they've really stepped up.
Thanks, Hope.
Thank you.
Scott Wyckoff.
Yeah, Hoke, what's it like now, really, as you evolve as a senior for all intents and purposes on this team with the experience you have? Do you find yourself not having to think as much and looser and able to really go as fast as you can really in practice?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, I think what makes me, what makes me a good football player is I take a lot of pride. I think I'm a really smart football player. I think last year I was able to, I don't know if Blake will ever admit to it, but I was able to help him a lot with checks, and I'm able to get us in the right protection a lot. So now especially, it's my third year in the offense. It's my like sixth time doing the same, spring and camp install. So like I know the offense inside and out. So that is something that I've been really, really focusing on this spring, is really just trying, like I was talking about earlier, just coming off the ball, playing free, knowing exactly what's coming, and being able to play free and really just run off the ball and play really physical. That's something that I'm really trying to take. That's going to take my game to a whole nother level, is just from a physicality standpoint, really just coming off the ball. But absolutely, it's helped a lot. Being a senior, it's at the same time it's allowed me to play free, but at the same time I got to make sure that I'm a guy bringing energy. That I'm leading, and that guys can look to me if on Wednesday when we had a bad drive. When we went 3 and out, I was trying to, circle the wagons and get us back going. That's something that is, it's difficult. It's hard and it's different, as a senior now. But I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's something I'm working on every single day.
And what's it like now, pretty much having 3 years under your belt as a member of the brigade, the comfort level you have on the yard?
Yeah, it's great now. Again, talking about Malcolm starting as a plebe, that Strauss can tell me. I think it was like 1988 was the first time a plebe offensive lineman has started. I mean, it's hard. It's so hard to be a plebe here and play football. And now, as second semester, second class, it's awesome. I'm super close with just the non-athletes in my company. I've got 2 roommates who are non-athletes, but love them to death. Super close to my company. They're obviously coming to all the games, but I can hear them in the stands cheering me on, and it's really cool. It's really, really cool.
Did the schedule come out? Did your mom take that day off from work and just focus on booking hotel rooms and travel?
I mean, I don't think she took the day off work, but I think she probably may have pushed a couple patients to the side and was really focused on it. Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. She's already got it all laid out about which, obviously they'll be at every single one, but which ones, my grandparents will be coming to, and my aunts and uncles. And we were really fired up to have the Friday night in UAB. That's gonna be awesome. Senior year. I live about less than 15 minutes away from Protective Stadium. So yeah, y'all will get a full experience of there will be a bunch of 79 jerseys in the stands. So it's awesome. It's awesome. And we were real worried about my brother, because now he's about to be a junior, and so playing on Friday nights, but thank goodness they have a bye weekend. So it'll be it's worked out pretty perfectly.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
You were close. Malcolm's the first freshman since 1997 to
Oh my
start on the
goodness.
offensive line. But
I got to get it down.
that guy only started 1 game.
There you go.
Yeah. So starting that many games, I don't think there is any.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I was, with my plebe year, I was fortunate enough to be able to travel and, playing some blowouts. And like, I remember just my head was spinning. I mean, it's just hard. I can't imagine, having the stress of final exams and playing Army Navy as a first semester plebe. I mean, that dude he's a tough dude.
No doubt. Wags.
So, Hoke, you mentioned Blake Horvath. He's up there in New York City big shotting it as the Sullivan Award finalist. He's in Central
He's
Park.
home. He's
I mean,
home.
that guy.
He's
He's in
home
Central
now, but he'll be in DC tonight for the DC Touchdown Club, along with Landon, as they were co-winners, just like the Indianapolis Touchdown Club.
I mean, that guy. I'm sitting there in thermo, and I pull up. I go to the bathroom. I pull up my phone, and I see him and Tim just eating hot dogs in Central Park. I'm like, this guy he
Right,
doesn't go to school anymore.
right. I think he's going to be an influencer, Blake.
I think he is. He's got the looks for it. That's what over spring break when he went to when he was doing the whole college football thing in Atlanta. I was like, dude, please bring me as your plus one. He's like, sorry, I already offered it to my girlfriend. I was like, come on, man. It's a little messed up. I wanted to be his plus one.
Right, he needs to show some love for his offensive line.
I know. I'll be sure to tell him that y'all think that as well.
So one last thing for me from the, it kind of, isn't Heater out in the spring also?
No, Heater's been running with the ones at left tackle. I forgot to mention Heater earlier.
Right. Yeah.
Talking about
Talk about Connor a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about the Admiral Mack Award, I should have mentioned Heater. He's had a phenomenal spring. I should have mentioned him earlier when you asked the Admiral Mack question. He's had a absolutely awesome spring. He's especially since Sean's been out, he's taken over at left tackle, and he's had one of the best springs of anybody. Up front, he's probably had the most improved. He's another one of those dudes who's a really smart football player. You know, his uncle is Eric Wolford, who's the coach, the offensive line coach at LSU. He knows football inside and out, and he's another dude. I know y'all have probably heard me say this way too much, but he's another dude. He's one of my best friends. He's in my company. He's in, he comes in my room or I go in his room every night, and we'll watch film together or play each other in an Xbox game or something. But he's just an awesome dude, and he's had a phenomenal spring. He really has.
So who are some of the young, because I'm looking at last year's depth chart, and other than Crowley, Heater, and Malcolm, nobody's, well, Zary and Sims. I mean, who else is working at tackle? I mean, if you're looking at backups to Crowley and Malcolm, and obviously Heater's right there in the mix, who else are we talking about, Hogue?
Yeah, Hanson Colley is another guy, and Zary and Sims. So Z unfortunately got a little banged up. He was having a pretty good spring so far. He got a little banged up last week, so he's been out. But he's a guy who's had a pretty good spring, and Z is one of the most athletic dudes. I think he's the most capable, just from an athletic standpoint, one of the most capable offensive linemen we have. I mean, he's strong, he's twitchy, he's big. He's a good dude, and so he's had a good spring, and so we're hoping that he'll definitely be able to provide some depth come fall. And then Hanson Colley is another dude who's really come along. He was playing defensive line this time last year. We moved him to O-line room, and he's been the guy right now who's getting the second team reps at left tackle. And he really has. He's had a really good spring. He's just one of those dudes who's getting better every day. And then Logan Wegman was a guy who had a really good fourth quarters. Was doing some indie with us in the fall, but unfortunately, like first day of pads, he rolled his ankle, so he's been out. But he's another dude who's going to be in the mix come fall.
Has anyone mentioned Torrin Smith yet?
I need to talk about Torrin. Golly, y'all are all over it today. Torrin's a phenomenal dude. He's he's an undersized. If I was going to take anyone into a dark alley to a fist fight, I'm taking Torrin Smith with me. I mean, that dude, he fears nothing. Last year, he was like the fifth string tackle last spring, got moved inside to center in camp. And after Cam went down, we were trying to figure things out. I started VMI at center, and Grayson was at guard, and then Grayson got a little banged up. And so we're scrambling, trying to figure things out. And Torrin stepped up, and I think he started 4 games or something, and he played really, really well. And he's a dude in the spring, who comes to work every single day, and he's done a really, really good job, especially with that second group. Is just really leading the second group, and he's done awesome. He's a guy who's absolutely competing for a spot. He's something where come fall. I mean, we could potentially move Cam out to guard and keep Torrin at center. He's in the mix. He's done really, really well. He comes to work every day, and he fights hard, and he's just an awesome dude. He's not afraid of anything.
Anyone have anything else for Hope? All right, thanks a lot, Hope. Great job.
Thanks, Jen. It's been a pleasure.